So Paul George, how about
Yes,
that guy?
that guy. 4 for 11 again? Is it 4 for 11?
He was 4 for 11.
One made three. Had some good looks again.
No, he had a couple made threes. He shot 2 for 5
because he had
tonight.
one to
Five?
tie.
Okay.
To tie. Who did he tie? On the
Vince
3-point
Carter.
Vince Carter.
Vince
Vince Carter, and
Vince
then
Carter
he
with the
passed him
second
later
one.
in the game. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I would say this. It's basically the same story as it's been all season. He has been a defensive difference maker, right? Like the big run that went on in the first half, a lot of that is the work that Paul George is doing, creating turnovers, making smart rotations. I mean, there are turnovers that he forced that he didn't get credit for, where it was like stunt on a driver, recover to his man. And so you had forced a weird decision from the driver, errant pass, hits your guy's hands, goes out of bounds, and you don't get the steal, but you effectively, that's your turnover, right? Like I put Paul George's name on it. He created that. And there have just been lots and lots and lots of plays like that. Loved the turnover that he forced and then threw the behind the back to Maxey. The thing I loved on offense was not the threes, but the blow by of Markkanen, which that's not crazy, but hitting a dunk out of a jump stop, I was like, oh man, that don't see Paul going up and dunking that often.
Mm-hmm.
You certainly don't see him coming to a jump stop and going out of that to dunk. So that was really nice. It's just like you want the normal Paul George to be there offensively, because I think what he's doing on the other end of the floor is so obvious, right? This is not something that's like, oh man, you really got to dig into the tape to see what he's doing, right? Like it is very clear to everyone watching Sixers games that this guy is playing really hard and making an impact on defense. But there is still this undercurrent of, yeah, but he's making $50 million and he's shooting 4 for 11 from the field and can't get shots to go down. And frankly, can't get like quality looks to go down, right? It's not just that he's missing shots. It's that he's getting some nice ones. They actually ran a really nice design look on a catch and shoot for him in, I believe it was the third quarter. It was right when it started to go off the rails and they gave the game back to Utah. But they got him a wide open left wing three. And that was one of the best design plays I've seen for specifically for like a Paul George shot. That was one of my favorite plays they ran all year. And I'll have to go back and isolate it later. He's got to hit those, right? Like we're saying, oh, he's got to get it in the flow of the offense. Oh, they got to do this for him. Well, when they do those things for him and they get him the clean ones, he's got to cash those in. It's that simple. And I know he shot, it's 40% on the baseball card tonight, right? But I think it's the same point. No, 2 for 5.
Oh yeah,
from 3. It's 40%. Yeah, but I know.
Sorry, I'm calc. I had to try to correct you when that opportunity was there, but a complete fumble in my.
Guess you're short circuiting after 1 a.m. Eastern time. It says 40% on the baseball card for the night, right? And it's like, yay, celebrate. But it's the same thing as the bomb with the free throws, where it's like, okay, the free throw problem is that you miss some important ones down the stretch and you got to put the game away. With Paul, you see 2 for 5 and you say probably 4 of those are good looks, right? Like they're quality shots that they're creating out of good possessions. And guy of his caliber and his talent, you really want to see more of those go down.
Yeah. And the first 3 of the game, when the Sixers took that 3-0 lead before, you talking back in a 12-0 run, that was anyway, design play. Paul coming off of an Embiid screen, rises up, shoots, knocks it down. I will say, if I had to pick one thing to be concerned about from Paul George coming into the season, whether it was a guy who has always made shots, missing shots that he has always made in the past, or a 34-year-old struggling on defense, I will take the concern that we have now 10 times out of 10. I was a little bit concerned coming in whether he would lose a step defensively. He's been fantastic. And as long as he is fantastic defensively, I still have faith that that shot is eventually going to come around. It is a little bit frustrating that we have to say that after almost every game, and that you're still sitting here saying he's got to find his role in the offense. He's got to make shots that he's always made throughout his career. But I always go back to, he's at an age where you don't, and quite frankly, when you struggle like that, you don't know whether or not his attention will wane, whether or not his effort will come and go. He's been fantastic, and because of that, I will still, I'm relatively confident.
We all silly like the mayor.